Everybody's asking the same question right now. Should you stack Retatrutide and Tesamorelin for fat loss? It seems like the easy choice, right? But there's something you need to understand this is not actually the right question. The right question is this: can this stack help contribute to reversing your metabolic disease? Because if you're just looking for faster fat loss, there are cheaper ways to do this. But if you're dealing with stubborn visceral fat that won't budge, insulin resistance that keeps you stuck, fatty liver that's getting worse even though the scale is moving, or if you're really thinking to attack your metabolic health and optimize as much as you can, that's a completely different conversation entirely. And that's what we're gonna break down today. I'm Dr. Jones, DC, and I coach thousands of patients on GLP-1s and peptides. And this passion of mine comes from my own journey. You see, I lost over 100 pounds myself, and I've kept it off for years. And now I work with our medical practitioners, helping people like you do the same. What I've learned coaching patients on both of these compounds is that the question isn't whether they work. They both work. They're kings in their own right. But the question is whether they work together, and more importantly, whether they work together safely and for the right reasons. Of course, they're going to get you better results. They get good results on their own. What I'm going to show you today, these two compounds attack metabolic disease from two completely different directions. And that's exactly why this combination is so powerful for the right person. So let's break it all down. Okay, so now most people think of belly fat as a cosmetic problem, right? Something that just looks bad in the mirror. But what most people don't realize, visceral fat, that's the fat that wraps around your organs, inside of your abdominal cavity, behind your belly. It's not the same as the fat that when you pinch your skin. Subcutaneous fat, the stuff under your skin, is generally much less dangerous than visceral fat. But here's the nuance. Abdominal subcutaneous fat, especially when it's expanded and inflamed, still contributes to insulin resistance and metabolic disease. It's just not the main driver the way visceral fat is. Visceral fat is a completely different animal. It's metabolically active. It's basically an inflammatory factory sitting inside your body, pumping out signals that basically make everything worse. It produces inflammatory cytokines. These are little chemical messengers that drive systemic inflammation. It directly contributes to fatty liver disease. And here's the kicker. It perpetuates and drives insulin resistance. So you end up in this vicious cycle. Insulin resistance promotes excess and ectopic fat storage, especially in the visceral area and liver fat. More visceral fat feeds more inflammation, and around you go. This is what I call the insulin resistance spiral. And if you've ever felt like your body is working against you, no matter what you do, this is probably why. So I see this kind of issue all the time with patients. This is your typical, I did the GLP-1s on my own. I wasn't really structured much at all. I lost a significant amount of weight, 20, 30, 40, 50 pounds, but they ended up losing a ton of muscle mass. This is 1 pound of muscle and this is 1 pound of fat, but they didn't look great with their clothes off. And when you take their body fat percentage, it's still high. They lost a significant amount of muscle. So that changed things for them. Their visceral fat didn't really reduce as much as it should have. Their metabolic health, because of that, didn't really improve that much. So the key isn't just dropping fat. You gotta drop visceral fat while maintaining muscle mass. That's the secret formula here that we're gonna expand on today. But the problem with most weight loss approaches, they move the scale, but they don't target visceral fat. So you can lose 20, 30, 40 pounds and still have dangerous levels of visceral fat wrapped around your liver and organs. And I see this in clinic all the time. Patients who've lost significant weight, but their liver enzymes are still elevated, their inflammation markers are still high. That's because they lost weight, but they didn't lose the right weight, like I was saying. So how do you actually target visceral fat specifically? That's where the growth hormone axis comes in, and why tesamorelin is different from just about any other growth hormone secreting agent there is. And if you're watching this right now thinking, that insulin resistance spiral sounds exactly like what's happening to me, that's exactly what we help people with breakthrough every single day. If you want to talk through your specific situation, you guys can text the number on the screen, or you can check out the link in the description to book a free discovery call. You'll talk with one of our patient educators who will walk you through what working with our medical team, me and my coaches, actually looks like. But now let's show you how tesamorelin specifically targets that dangerous visceral fat. Now you probably have heard that tesamorelin is just for HIV patients, and technically that's what the FDA approved it for, HIV-associated lipodystrophy. Essentially what that means, it's a medical condition for these patients where they get excessive development of visceral fat, side effects of the multiple medications they're taking. But off-label, this is phenomenal at boosting growth hormone and burning that visceral fat. And it's used very often in non-HIV patients. Tesamorelin was specifically developed to solve that problem. That mechanism works whether you have HIV or not. So what does tesamorelin actually do? See, it's a growth hormone releasing hormone analog, or a GHRH for short. When you inject it, it stimulates your pituitary gland to release more of your own growth hormone in pulsatile physiological patterns. Not synthetic HGH dumped in from the outside, but your own growth hormone augmented the way that your body is designed to work. Now here's the key. Growth hormone signaling tends to reduce visceral fat more than other depots in clinical studies. Disproportionately shrinks the fat around your organs, which is exactly where you need to lose it. This is what makes tesamorelin different from other fat loss tools. Most approaches, even most peptides, they hit fat in general. Tesamorelin specifically hunts visceral fat. And I've seen patients whose waist measurements drop significantly even when their overall weight loss is modest. Like that ratio, you're always going to get some visceral fat loss, some waist measurement decrease with weight loss, but that ratio is more favorable. That's the visceral fat coming off. That's the dangerous fat leaving. And by the way, you can just use your waist measurement as a good proxy for how much visceral fat you probably have in your body. Now, in terms of how we use it in our clinic, and this is different from the FDA label dosing for HIV lipodystrophy, we often use a cycling schedule to avoid desensitization, and we recommend taking it away from meals, usually in the evening, because food, especially carbs, can dampen the growth hormone release. Of course, this is off-label use. Always use proper medical supervision. Think of tesamorelin as a system 2 amplifier. It specifically boosts your fat mobilization, targets the depot that matters most for your metabolic health, getting rid of that visceral fat. Now, if this just clicked for you, if you're realizing that there's specific tools that target the exact fat that you've been fighting, you need to hit that subscribe button right now, because we put out 2 peptide videos every single week, breaking down exactly how these compounds work and how to use them most effectively. Okay, so here's the thing. Tesamorelin handles one half of the problem, the visceral fat. But what about the insulin resistance that's driving the whole cycle in the first place? That's where retatrutide comes in, and that's where the glucagon receptor changes everything. Now, most people think all GLP-1s are basically the same, semaglutide, tirzepatide, retatrutide, just different brands, different doses, same basic idea. If you're talking about appetite suppression, yes, but retatrutide is fundamentally different, and it's because of one receptor that the others don't touch, the glucagon receptor. Now, semaglutide hits GLP-1, tirzepatide hits GLP-1 GIP, retatrutide hits all three, GLP-1, GIP, and glucagon. That glucagon is huge. So what does glucagon actually do? Think of insulin and glucagon as opposites. Insulin is your storage hormone. It tells your body to take energy from the blood and lock it away in cells. Glucagon is your release hormone. Literally tells your liver to unlock stored energy and put it back into circulation. When glucagon is active, your liver releases glycogen, which is stored carbohydrate. It ramps up lipolysis, the breakdown of stored fat, and it even promotes ketone production. That's the thing that you want when you're in some sort of low carb diet. Your body shifts from storage mode into mobilization mode. This is what happens naturally when you fast. Insulin levels drop, glucagon levels rise, and your body starts tapping into stored fat. Retatrutide combines GLP-1, GIP, and glucagon agonism to push your body toward burning stored energy. In some ways, resembling aspects of a prolonged fasting state. Even when you're eating, you're getting some of that glucagon signaling that tells your body to release rather than store. And here's why that matters for insulin resistance. By helping you burn more stored energy and improve insulin sensitivity, drugs like retatrutide likely improve metabolic flexibility. Your ability to switch between carbs and fat as fuel, that's really important. That's one of the key markers of metabolic health. And the clinical data backs this up. In phase 2 retatrutide trials showed around 24% weight loss at 48 weeks at the higher doses, but more importantly, it showed 82% reduction in liver fat and significantly improved insulin sensitivity markers. This ain't just appetite suppression anymore, homie. This is some powerhouse right here. This is active metabolic remodeling. The glucagon receptor is unlocking the vault, breaking the insulin resistance spiral at its source. Now, if you want me to do a complete video breakdown on how we dose and titrate retatrutide specifically, I'm talking the ramp-up schedule, the glucagon considerations, side effect management, let me know in the comment if that would be helpful to you. Be sure to include what you're currently doing right now. Okay, so now you've got 2 compounds attacking through 2 completely different pathways. So here's the question everybody wants answered. Do these 2 compounds actually work together, or are you just wasting money doubling up on peptides? The answer comes down to understanding what each one actually target. Remember, retatrutide, think of the whole insulin resistance piece. It's improving your metabolic flexibility, promoting fat mobilization systemically, breaking the IR spiral, the insulin resistance spiral, through that glucagon receptor activation. Tesamorelin handles visceral fat, specifically targeting the dangerous deposits around your organs through the growth hormone axis, the fat that's hardest to reach and most damaging to your health. They aren't the same pathways. They are competing with each other. They're running on completely parallel tracks. Okay, so we'll sketch this out here. We're looking at Reta and we're looking at Tesa. So the big thing, and then on the Tesa side, so on the Reta, we have the glucagon side. On the Tesa, we have the growth hormone, IGF. Now, IGF is a derivative downstream product that gets produced when your growth hormone levels increase, and growth hormone levels increase when you use these growth hormone secreting agents like tesamorelin. Now, the big thing that we're going to focus on, metabolic This isn't about losing weight faster. This is about attacking the two root causes of metabolic disease through two different mechanisms. Body composition improvements that you see, the scale moving, the waist shrinking, that's the visible proof that metabolic healing is actually happening. Now, I know what you might be thinking, Dr. Jones, that sounds like a lot, right? Is it really necessary to stack both? And honestly, for most people, probably not. Sure, if you want the most powerful thing and money isn't an issue, go for it. Retatrutide alone is incredibly powerful. But for somebody with significant visceral fat, documented insulin resistance, fatty liver, metabolic health is a priority, not just the scale weight. And this combo attacks the problem from both directions at the same time. So the real question is, if this stack makes sense for you, can you actually articulate why? Like, explain it. What are the two pathways and what does each compound target? If you can answer that, you understand why this works. But if you can't, you watch the last few minutes because that's the foundation that everything else builds on. Okay, so if you're already on GLP-1 medications and considering adding Tesa to your protocol, let me know in the comments about your current situation, what you're taking, what you're seeing, what you're stuck on. I try my best to answer every single one, and I'll jump in what we do with our patients in the clinic. Okay, so you're convinced that this stack makes sense for you. But here's the most important thing I can tell you. Do not start both at the same time. This is what I call the kitchen sink stack mistake. You throw everything at the problem on day number 1, and then you have no idea what's actually working. That's what's causing side effects or what needs adjustment. Here's how we sequence this combo in our clinic when we do use it. Retatrutide first, always. You start with Reta. Establish your metabolic baseline. Get your appetite under control. Identify any side effects. Let your body adjust to the glucagon receptor activation. That takes a minimum of 2 to 4 weeks, sometimes longer, depending on how you're responding. Once you're stable on the Reta, then you layer in Tesamorelin. So this way, if something changes, good or bad, you know exactly what caused it. You can adjust one variable at a time instead of guessing. Now, for the Tesamorelin protocol specifically, the FDA labeled dose is around 1 to 2 milligrams daily. But that 2 milligrams, I've never seen anybody take that off label. In our clinic, we use different dosing and often a cycling schedule. Timing matters. We have patients take it away from meals, often in the evenings. Food, especially carbohydrates, will blunt the growth hormone release, so an empty stomach helps maximize the goals. Think 1 milligram at the most, 500 micrograms to 1,000 micrograms, 5 days on, 2 days off before bed. Now here's what doesn't change, even with the stack. Foundation first still applies. Protein targets are non-negotiable. If you're not hitting adequate protein, you're losing muscle along with fat, and that defeats the entire purpose. Resistant training is also non-negotiable. You need to give your body a reason to preserve muscle tissue. And fasting windows still matter. These compounds amplify what you're already doing. They don't replace the foundation. Now, real quick, let me know in the comments if this is you. You got stubborn belly fat that won't budge even when the scale's moving. Maybe your doctor's mentioned a fatty liver. I want to hear your specific situation. Let me know in the comments because I'll do my best to point you towards what we typically investigate first with our patients. So who is this actually for? Because I'll be honest, again, this isn't for everybody. Let's talk about who is ideal for this stack. This is for the person who's dealing with significant visceral fat, metabolically dangerous fat that's wrapped around your organs, driving inflammation, contributing to fatty liver. If that's your situation, this stack attacks it directly through growth hormone while simultaneously improving insulin resistance. It's for someone with documented insulin resistance or fatty liver, someone whose metabolic health is a real priority, not just hitting numbers on the scale, but actually healing what's going on underneath the hood. And here's a group that doesn't get talked about enough. This stack is also for the health optimizer, someone who's not necessarily in a bad place, but just wants to maximize their metabolic health. Someone thinking about longevity, about getting their body functioning as optimal as possible. You don't have to be in a crisis to benefit from this if your goal is optimal metabolic function, not just good enough. This combination hits the two biggest levers that you have. But for those people, you don't need as much Reta. Probably 1 to 2 milligrams will be plenty. In all those cases, foundation first still applies. Protein, training, these compounds amplify what you're already doing. They don't replace the work. And if you're brand new to peptides, I'd still recommend starting off with Reta on its own first, establish a response, see how your body handles it, and then consider adding the Tesa once you got that baseline. So I want you to be honest with yourself here. Are you dealing with metabolic dysfunction and ready to attack it from both directions? Or are you someone who wants to take your metabolic health to the next level? Either way, that's exactly who this combination is built for. So here's where you're at. Now you understand why this stack works. Two compounds attacking metabolic diseases from two completely different directions. The growth hormone axis that targets visceral fat, and the glucagon receptor breaking the insulin resistance spiral and restoring metabolic flexibility. If you're dealing with stubborn visceral fat that won't budge no matter what you do, if your labs still show fatty liver or elevated inflammation markers, even though you've lost weight, or if you're stuck in that cycle where insulin resistance keeps pulling you back, this is exactly what we help people with every single day. You can text the number on the screen, or you can use that link in the description to book yourself a free discovery call. You'll get a chance to talk with one of our patient educators who will go through your history, your past attempts, your long-term goals, and then they're going to walk you through exactly what it would be like to work with me, our medical team, And they're gonna include programs and pricing so that you get a big picture of what that all looks like. And if you're not ready, that's totally fine. Now, by the way, I recently posted a video about Retatrutide stacking beyond just Tesamorelin. So if you're really digging this Reta stacking thing, then you need to watch that video next. We'll see you later.